It's getting chilly outside, even in LA. So I've been breaking out the soup, stew, and chili recipes. And what goes better with those than a nice piece of bread? So let's make something that's vegan, gluten-free, and essentially flour-free. Let's get baking. To go with my homemade lentil vegetable stew, I'm making a quick, easy quinoa bread. It's better than cornbread and filled with more nutrients than most plain store-bought breads. My stew is already made and it smells so good, but I really want a nice bread to go with that. First came across this recipe because I wanted something that was like cornbread, but I didn't want cornbread. I wanted something a little different, maybe a little more nutrients. And quinoa has a little bit of protein, a little more nutrients, as well as the oats that we're gonna add to this. So it's fairly simple. I'm gonna start with 1 cup of instant oats. And this is a very accessible item you can buy. I have Quaker Oats gluten-free brand here. You can use any ones that you find, but like I said, this is pretty accessible, so I'm going with that one. And we're gonna put this first into, I'm using a NutriBullet. It's a little precarious here, I don't wanna lose it. So the NutriBullet is an excellent way to grind this up into almost like a powder form. You can use a blender. And if you don't have either of those, you could use a coffee grinder. It just might take you a little time. So let's get that ground up. Doesn't take too many pulses, but nice powder form here. Let's get that in the bowl. You can see how it's already like flour. And then next we're gonna do the same thing with 1 cup of white quinoa. And it doesn't have to be pre-soaked or anything. You just put that right in here as well. And don't spill it like I am. That ground up. And this might take a few more pulses as opposed to the oats. That's looking good, but let's just give it 1 more. Look at that, nice powder. Put that all together. Give it a little stir so you can see how it's all mixing, becoming one flour. It smells good too. It smells nutty. Okay, and just a few more of the dry ingredients. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're just gonna put that right in. And then we're gonna do a pinch of salt. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And then finally, one of my favorite ingredients is the psyllium husk. Let me show you the bag real quick, actually. You might have noticed this in some of my other videos, but I really like this brand because it's all that's in there. There's no other additives, so it's all pure psyllium husk. It's a natural ingredient. It's really good for binding, particularly in breads. It really works well, especially with something like this, because the taste and the texture of the psyllium husk really goes with the bread, so it's not gonna conflict. And so it helps with the binding and the structure that we're missing from the bread's not having any gluten. So let's just mix that in. It's pretty easy, right? I mean, most of us have oats laying around our house already and quinoa most likely. So next are wet ingredients. I've got here a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And then we want a little sweetness in there, like cornbread has that little sweetness to it. So we're gonna do a similar taste profile with that. I'm gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of some maple syrup. Let me get my half here. Whoops. Okay. I'm making quite a mess for something so easy. And finally, what's gonna bring this all together is 1.5 cups of water. Just get that right in there. I may need a whisk, but let's see if I can get it combined enough with the spoon alone. Look at that. And I love how textured it is. So even though we ground up the quinoa, you're still gonna have a little texture. It's pretty easy though. Only a few turns here and it's already pretty combined. So you see the texture, very lumpy, but that is exactly how we want it. I really like to use these little tart pans for my bread. It's totally optional. You can do this in muffin tins. You could do it as a one big loaf. I just find these to be a little more impressive looking. I mean, you're still dealing with gluten-free bakes. They don't always bake up as high or as tall as a regular gluten bake would, but these look more impressive and cute. So all I'm doing is giving it a little oil because I am a fanatic about making sure things don't stick. So let's get that nice and greased. And I'm sure that this will yield, probably could do 2 more of these, but I'm gonna do 4 because again, I want these to be nice and full. You know, it's winter out. I wanna have a hearty meal, hearty stew, and a good portion of bread. Okay, so these look good, nice and greased up, so they shouldn't stick. And all we have to do is add the batter. And I'm gonna do some healthy portions in each. It's looking good. I'll give these a little slam, make sure they're filling the bottom evenly. No air pockets or anything. Okay. So as it is, they look really good, but this is optional. I highly recommend though that you add some toppings. So I'm gonna go grab mine and put those on. So what I have here is a little mixture of chia seeds, hemp seeds, and kosher sea salt. So that is going to be a nice little crunchy texture additional on the top. You could also put some brown sugar on if you'd like, if you wanna go a little more sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle this nice and liberally on all of these. It just adds like, just a nice little look. Let's get it all the way around. That is gonna be nice and tasty. You could use any kind of seeds too. I just prefer this mixture of hemp and chia. Again, a little more nutrients. Get those omegas wherever you can. Okay, so that is it. These are ready to go into the oven. We're gonna bake these for 30 minutes at 350. These are out of the oven, smelling amazing. I've got them on my cooling rack and I'm gonna let them cool just a little bit. I want them warm to go with my stew, but I want them to be a little set up, so just like a few minutes so that I can cut into those and give them a taste. I'm so excited to try this. This is what it looks like. Get a close look at those delicious toppings, the hemp seeds, the chia. Oh my gosh, let's break it open. Ooh, look at that. Spongy. And no all-purpose flour, just oats and quinoa. Let me give it a little taste. That is really good texture. The topping is great, the little crunch on the top. And I have my vegetable stew here, so let's try it with that. Give it a nice little dunk. Who doesn't like it like that? Who even needs a spoon? Hot. That is a perfect winter, fall, honestly anytime kind of meal, in my opinion. And if you like the way this stew is looking, I will share the recipe with you. You can either DM me on my Instagram, Bakes by Dawn, or shoot me a comment in the video below. So that's it. A very easy, tasty, gluten-free bread that goes with soups, stews, or honestly anything. Thanks so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, see ya.